Now we're at the bottom of the barrel, Chris. Kansas, Arizona. Arizona's been a marginal program that has typically gotten to postseason play, especially under Rich Rodriguez, I think 3 or 4 consecutive years. Actually went to a Fiesta Bowl a couple of years ago, but they were awful last season, 1-8 in the conference. Kansas has always been awful going back to the Todd Reesing days. So I don't know. You have probably about as much insight into what would happen when these two teams would get together as anybody.
Arizona might be awful, but they're still Power 5 awful. Kansas, they're working their way up to Power 5 awful. They're kind of like the Texas Tech defense. If they improved 40 spots, they'd still rank in the 80s. It's that bad. We are seeing Coach David Beatty really like the job he's doing in Lawrence. They got the big win over Texas. That's something they're looking to build the program on. I think if Beatty is given time, that they're going to improve. And I think they take a step back. But the problem is they started so far behind. So in just a couple of years, they're now competitive. They played a lot of games close last season. They tend to play TCU close. They definitely play much better at home. So if this was at home, I would give them a better odds against Arizona. But on a neutral field, I'd probably say Kansas 3-4 wins again. I would give the advantage to Arizona.
I just did the math, Chris. So it's crucial whether you decide on a 3-win Kansas series or 4 wins. It's
4.
It's crucial.
We'll say that half the wins are at home, and we'll make it 4 or 5.
We got 10 teams in the Big 12. They've just played 10 hypothetical games each against the Pac-12 seed that they compare to. So that's 100 games. So the math was rather easy for me. And with Kansas squeaking out that 4th win in a 10-game series gives the Big 12 a 51-49 advantage. So if nothing else, Chris, as a Big 12 guy, I've got to give you much credit for not just being a total homer. I thought this thing was going to finish like 67-33.
Yeah, there at first, I admit I'm pretty high on the teams at the top. I like what they can do this year. I think because they're in the Big 12, Oklahoma State, and Kansas State and West Virginia are being undersold. Even Oklahoma at 7 and Oklahoma State at 10. So I like those matchups a little bit more than the bottom half of the conference. But teams like Baylor, Texas Tech, they'll take a step back. But you have to be realistic about that. Texas, I'm not ready to say they're back, so I'll be realistic about that. So. Hopefully I'm not trying to be too much of a homer. I'm trying to keep it fair, but that's the way I see it.